County Cocktails, a look through history, both past and present. We're here in Centre Wellington and specifically with the Elora Distillery, and they have graciously allowed us to come into their business today and sort of look at what they have to offer. So without further ado, let's head into this beautiful establishment and take a look inside.
Hi, I'm Marty Van Vliet, CEO of the Elora Distilling Company, located in the heart of downtown Elora. We're a small micro distillery. We came into operation a year ago in March of 2020. We started selling our first alcohol in June of 2020. But the whole project started a good 5 years ago. We decided that we wanted to locate a micro distillery in the heart of Elora, and we started working with the township. I have 7 partners, Carolyn and Jeff Drimmy from Elora, my partner Mark, Steph and Angelo Toro from Toronto, and my mother, Brenda Van Vliet. The 7 of us came together, pooled our resources, and created what you now find as the Elora Distilling Company. It's a micro distillery, and when I say that, what it means is that it's a small distillery. Everything is done by hand using local ingredients. Local ingredients is truly really important to us. Everything from our grain to our flavoring come from Wellington County. All our grain currently comes from Newland Mills, and this year we're having rye grown by a local farmer to do whiskeys with. The flavorings come from our friend Gloria and Dave Bolger's farm. They do a market garden for us, so they grow us our fruits, our vegetables, all the things that we would use for flavoring liqueurs like pumpkin chai or cassis, which is black currant. Also, local producer Shelley Walsh, who has a berry farm, has been producing product for us to use in our flavorings as well. So we do everything in-house. So we bring in the grain, we mash, we ferment, we distill, all right here. It's an intense process, and it's the opposite of what most liquor that people drink, which is a factory-produced liquor. It's very hands-on. So we're mashing the berries, we're mixing the ingredients by hand in buckets and in tanks. It's very intense and very local. It's as local as you can get. We're we'll call it a full service distillery. We do gins. Gins are big for us. We have 4 constant gins. The one we'll be using today is Great Expectations. Great Expectations is our Ontario terroir gin. When I say that, I mean that the ingredients are harvested here in Ontario. So some of the juniper is grown on the farm with Dave and Gloria Bolger. The other ingredients are sumac, which Mark and I have gone out and harvested locally. You may have seen us on the trail on the way to Fergus. And it uses sweet gale and burdock root, which is also 2 Ontario botanicals. We're using cassis today, and that'll be from berries that are grown on Dave and Gloria's farm. So as you can see, we're really focused on local, and local gives us the opportunity to give visitors a taste of our county when they come to visit. My background is in drinking. I have to be honest about that. It's drinking. So my partner Mark and I, since 2005, have been traveling around the world drinking cocktails in famous hotels. So the Ritz in Paris, the Savoy in London, the Plaza in New York. We've been to about 55 historic hotels around the world. So when you come to the Elora Distilling Company and you walk inside, that's the field you're going to get. We've decorated in lobby bar style. So chandeliers, velvet, and we're hoping that when you sit down, you get a little taste of that elegance that you feel when you go into historic hotels. We first had a cocktail in 1996, and that was under the tutelage of Dr. Steve Thorning. If you're from Wellington County, you'll recognize him from the Wellington Advertiser. He did the history articles in the Wellington Advertiser for years and years and years. And he introduced us to the first cocktail we ever had in 1996, and that was the Hocus Pocus from the Stork Club, New York. I never looked back, and I've been drinking cocktails ever since. So hopefully you'll be able to come and visit us and enjoy a cocktail here at the Elora Distilling Company.
So Wellington County really wasn't that different with questioning whether or not prohibition should be enacted. Take Bill Cohen's, for example, in 1859. He was a great example as to why people like the Women's Temperance Union and the Ontario Prohibition League sort of took that prohibition idea and ran with it. Bill Cohen's worked at the Mill Street store for many years, and the Mill Street store did have a barrel of whiskey inside of its walls. So Bill goes into the store one day, he has a couple drinks from the whiskey barrel, as you do, but he took a couple more than what he normally would. By the end of his shift, he just sort of went to the commercial hotel that was essentially next door and then continued on his tirade of drinking alcohol, so much so that when he eventually got up to leave, he took a step towards the exit and then promptly fell on his face onto the floor. Now, he was right in front of the exit. For hours, people coming in and out of the commercial hotel had to step over Bill's body to get to the bar or to get to the street. They thought he was just passed out on the floor. It wouldn't be until the local doctor came into the commercial hotel that he noted, no, Bill had fallen onto the floor and had passed away during the time that he had been on his tirade. So he was a great example for lots of these people to really say that the devil's drink was the problem for everything going wrong in their community. So a lot of the local economy based in central Wellington had a lot to do with whiskey, but by the 1870s, that economy essentially just disappeared. And that's because there were a lot of really big businesses in places like Toronto and Windsor that was sort of like monopolizing the idea of distilling whiskey. A lot of people ended up drinking a lot more beer and malt liquors at this time. So the local economy in central Wellington fell apart. But then on top of that, you have this problem of the government putting in new regulations. So if you were a hotel or a tavern in the local community and you wanted to start something up, you had to pay a minimum of $60 to start up a new tavern, which is a ton of money in the 1870s. And then on top of that, the local government said only a set amount of hotels were allowed in the community based on the population in that area. So what I think really had a lot of influence on that local vote was the militarization of local temperance and prohibition leagues. And for Central Wellington, it was the Ontario Prohibition League in those early years. They left absolutely no question what it is that they were looking for. Absolute and complete prohibition, the complete banning of the sale and consumption of alcohol. And by 1876, they had made moves to start a prohibition petition to enact that vote. They received 6,000 yeses or signatures on their petition. Most of them came from Guelph and Puslish townships. But funny enough, only 23 signatures came from Elora, which is hilarious to me because the vice president of that league was from Elora. On the flip side of that though, Fergus had 323 signatures on that petition, and about 65% of those were from women. So as a response to the local league in the area, hotels and taverns, they got together and they started their own petition against prohibition. They got about 2,200 signatures on their petition, and although the league argued to start a referendum for prohibition, the local government just decided against it and totally denied the league any help. So even with that loss, the league never gave up. They decided to start a new petition in the following year, and it was a complete and utter failure. But they didn't even stop there either. They went to secure convictions against local hotels and taverns that had started to sell liquor on the off hours and during Sundays, and basically being just a nuisance. So the 1870s really didn't see too much in successful prohibition laws or pushes, but then comes 1884.
Hi there. Today we're going to make the Dalby cocktail. The Dalby cocktail is named after Robert Dalby, who was a local entrepreneur in the mid-1800s. So he built the Dalby House at the top of the hill here in Elora in 1865, which was a hotel serving alcohol, and it served alcohol all the way until I moved to a town in the 1990s. So it was serving alcohol right through, with the exception of Prohibition, for at least 130 years. It's made in the very traditional cocktail formula, which is to have a base alcohol. Today we're using Great Expectations, which is our local terroir gin. A sweet, so we have 2 sweets today. We have cassis, which is made from black currant, which is grown here in the county. And triple sec, which is an orange liqueur. This is our house-made triple sec. It's an orange liqueur that's very sweet. And then that's balanced with a tart. And the tart today is lemon juice. So by mixing the sweet and tart, you should be getting the perfect balance for a cocktail. And that's what we're trying to do here today. So the first step for making your cocktail is, of course, ice. Ice is critical. A cocktail should always be cold. So our cocktail today is 2 parts gin, 1 part cassis, 1 part triple sec, and 1 part lemon juice. A cocktail should be mixed for at least 45 seconds. You do this, number 1, to make it really cold, but also it melts a little bit of the ice. And that waters down your cocktail because the majority of a cocktail is almost pure alcohol. These always should be drunk with moderation in mind. As Dorothy Parker said, 1 martini, 2 at the most, 3 I'm under the table, 4 I'm under the host. And here is the Dalby. Hi there. So if you want to make the Dalby at home, please, and you don't remember the ingredients, please go on our website, eloradistillingcompany.com. And on the website, we will have a listing for the Dalby on how to make it at home. And, don't worry if you don't have all the accoutrements, like a cocktail shaker. Use a mason jar. That works just as well and then you can make it at home. Otherwise, if you want to come in, you can come into the Elora Distilling Company and get the ingredients, or we'll actually have them pre-mixed for you. So you can find us downtown Elora. It's at 102 Unit 4 Metcalfe Street, right on the corner of Church and Metcalfe. If you want to just talk to us, call us at 226-384-7777, and any of our helpful staff will let you know the ingredients or what to do. And if you want to come visit us, we're here every single day. We're open 7 days a week, for sure always between 10 and 6. And then in the warmer months, we're open late into the evening for cocktails. Hope to see you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
So funny enough, when the Women's Temperance Union came to Fergus to hold a rally, they went to all the hotels in the area and every single hotel refused to host them for one of their rallies, which makes perfect sense. If you think about it, being a business in Wellington County, trying to be a distillery and make alcohol and sell alcohol, these people were destroying their businesses. And there was a real fear that if the prohibition law was put into place, taverns, hotels, distilleries, everything would lose its business and have to shut down. So of course they wouldn't want to host them. By the end of 1884 though, the Women's Temperance Union, the Ontario Prohibition League, they were successful in gaining that 25% on their petition. So Wellington County had to hold a vote. And it would have been very nerve-wracking for all the businesses in Wellington County that had a base in people coming in for a drink or two after a long day's work. Unfortunately, they actually got a majority as well. A majority of just 1,430 votes allowed the Prohibition Act to follow through in Wellington County. But the only locations that the union was not able to get a majority vote is in Arthur and in Elora. Makes sense. Thus, by May 1st, 1886, liquor was banned inside of Wellington County, so you can no longer sell nor consume alcohol in its doors. Did that stop people from discreetly trying to find ways to sell and drink alcohol? Absolutely not. You could go to a doctor and they could prescribe you a dose of alcohol, and they did so regularly. And if you were an entrepreneur, then maybe you want to set up a new business and start up an illegal distillery. But I think that's a story for another day. On the other side though, why don't we celebrate the fact that we no longer have prohibition here in Wellington County and try this lovely cocktail that Marty has made for us. We do suggest that you come into the Elora Distillery to try it yourself if you'd like to do so. So well done to us for getting rid of prohibition, and let's celebrate with this lovely cocktail. Delicious. Thank you for coming on this adventure with us, and I'd like to thank the Elora Distillery for allowing us to come into their walls, take a glimpse of what they have to offer, and also giving us a very delicious cocktail. If you are curious about what the Wellington County Museum and Archives is up to, just visit us at wellington.ca/museum and stay tuned for next month when we visit the Heartwood Farm Cidery. We'll see you there.